Welcome everybody. My name's Marilee Burnett. I am your astrologer and I am back with the messages for the week of April 22nd of 2024. And we have again a really action-packed week with a lot of change headed our way and a lot of tension, which of course we've been seeing ever since we entered into eclipse season. So we have a full moon in Scorpio coming up this week, but before I get into all of those details, please make sure that you like, subscribe, and follow me so that you are always notified whenever I post a new video, which I do each week. Already posted for your enjoyment also are tarot card readings that go along with this Astrolesson of the week. So be sure to like, comment, follow me so that you can see those videos come across your notifications. Also, please join my website. That way you get my written articles for free, mailed to your inbox. Each month I do a monthly horoscope. I also do a new moon and a full moon write-up. And I break all of those down by sign. So you definitely want to go and check out my website. And there you can also see the specials that I have for my readings. So love to work with you. And especially if you want to find out what this incredible full moon in Scorpio will have in store for you. So with that, as usual, I have the Astro Gold chart pulled up in front of you so that we can walk through the activities that are going on this week. Now, we're going to start off on Monday with a bit of leftover energy that is happening this week. That's a carryover from last week. Now, also keep in mind that the impacts of the energy can be felt a few days before and after. So even though I call out the event and the day that it's going to happen, you may be noticing it even now, right? As we talk about the first few days of the week coming up. So as I mentioned, as we start on Monday, Earth Day, do something to get back to the earth today. You notice that we still have Mercury sitting in retrograde. We have this conjunction that's been going on between Uranus and Jupiter. Now they were exact on the 20th. They're still very close together, and you will notice this week that they still continue talking and bringing about great tremendous change. So we'll be talking about that again this week as well. What was probably eventful on Sunday was the energy of Pluto in Aquarius and it's square to the sun in Taurus. Now, a square is a hard right angle. That means something needs to change. Somebody needs to make a change in direction. And these can be two political power opponents that are squaring off with one another. And somebody needs to make a change or the pressure will continue. And this can be really explosive energy. Pluto is power, it is death, it is destruction. And in Aquarius, that can happen to large groups of people. That's why we've been seeing so much war. And this energy, while it is continuing on, reached a peak on Sunday, but as I mentioned, we're still likely to see the impacts of this all the way through the full moon in Scorpio as Pluto moves extremely slow. Now, Pluto is also very much work that can be hidden, it can be beneath the surface, it can all be psychological, but it's definitely creating powerful transformations at the same time. So in your own life, as you kick off the week, what do you want to change? Because that's what you want to focus your energy in on. And especially because Pluto is the ruler of where we're having this full moon in Scorpio. So this is a very powerful time to create personal transformations. And that is exactly what you want to be focusing on. All right. So that's our carryover, and we are going to march forward and take a look at the full moon that we have happening here on Tuesday. So Pluto, ruler of the full moon in Scorpio, is sitting, of course, still at 2 degrees of Aquarius, and it is creating what is called a T-square. This triangle that you see is created by one planet squaring two others. These are technically luminaries, both the moon and the sun. And that means there's these two 90-degree angles. And then those two, of course, directly oppose one another every time we have a full moon. They are always opposite one of another in opposing signs. The sun shines a light from the sign of Taurus on the moon in Scorpio. So this is a very emotional moon. Scorpio is a water sign. It's extremely sensitive, highly intuitive. It also can be very secretive. It is energy where we can hide ourselves emotionally. We can react strongly when our feelings are hurt. Now, the moon is helping you conclude something in this area of your life, in this area of your chart. It can be concluding some major transformation work. It can be concluding some kind of a big power move, some kind of big money move, especially when money is highlighted from the sun that has just recently moved into the sign of Taurus. What is it that you want? What is it that you desire? How does money make you feel successful? And what are you looking to purchase, to buy? Versus Scorpio energy is about using your power to influence other people. And of course, Taurus likes to buy all the beautiful luxury items. So how do you manage your power with your financial power, right? Your emotional power with your financial power. This is where we saw the North Node and the South Node transit in the previous 1.5 year cycle. So there's almost a full conclusion to that work, and we get to see a little bit more of it. This is pretty close to where we saw King Charles be inaugurated in this area of this Taurus energy where the sun sits now. We may see more news come out involving King Charles or those in his family at this time. So this is powerful. And then Pluto bringing the change and the transformation that is a result of this energy being at a peak, right? This fullness of Scorpio, this conclusion that you want, it cannot happen without big, major change. And change in power, right? Power that goes to the people versus just being with the individual self. The sun, of course, is the ego self. The moon is our emotional self. So there's a balance between those two areas. And Pluto is helping us choose our power carefully, use our power to help other people. And something about this struggle is going to push us and force us to look at giving power back to the people in some way. Now, in your own life, this can be about your personal transformation journey. This can be about being more innovative and creative. It can also help you break free, right? Pluto says, hey, see what you're afraid of and face it and do it anyway, right? Take your personal power back. Wherever the struggle is in your chart, wherever this need is for balance, the answer is to choose your own power and for you to make the choices and the decisions. This isn't energy to sit back and wait on. This is energy to always show up and do something with it. So where do you need to create change? Where do you need to belong? This is also your friend groups when we talk about Aquarius energy. This is saying we are more powerful being a part of something that helps serve other people. So it's really intense. And as usual, we all have choices in how will we tap in and tune in and use our power. Are we going to use it for good? Or are we going to use it to be destructive? Will we not respond well to the pressure and overreact? So we need to be, careful and aware. Whenever we have things like Pluto squaring the sun, it can be really explosive. So we just want to be aware of our surroundings. It's not the time to escalate any kind of arguments. Definitely not time for road rage or engaging in anybody who is road raging. I recommend getting to the nearest exit and get off. Just don't engage. Do not engage. That is my advice for any arguments that are escalating. You need to work on de-escalation or removing yourself from the equation. At the same time, we're going to be feeling the impacts of the Mercury retrograde. Now, this is work that started back in mid-March, and this is the end of that work. And so as a planet slows down to change direction, it puts out a lot of energy. So Mercury is information, it is transportation, it is thinking for ourselves. Your mind may be very, very overactive, and the snafus with details, with paperwork, with the computers, with your phones, with your vehicles, like I would fully expect to be a lot of that kind of thing going on at the same time as we have this really intense emotional full moon. So it's a day to practice being grounded, right? And to, channel, to meditate, to do whatever you do that helps you remain calm, and journal, right? This is about writing and communicating, getting it all out, releasing the things from the past. And these are fated conversations that are going on with the connection to the North and the South node. So there's things in relationships that will end at this time that might surprise us, but that's part of the fated journey for those people in those relationships that do need to come to an end. There will be legal battles that come to an end. Justice will be served. We've been having a very long discussion, an awkward one between the South Node and Saturn here in the sign of Pisces, and is just now moving off of that 15-degree mark, still in close contact, but maybe some of that intensity is lessened. But we still have this very karmic influence of things related to the law and to justice and to marriages and relationships and business partners. So keep an eye on whatever is showing up as coming to an end, and definitely don't try to hang on to anything that is making its way out of your life at this time, because it is absolutely fated. It's a part of the eclipse energy, and it just quite simply needs to go. All right. Like I mentioned earlier, go listen to the tarot cards. I had a lot of major arcana cards, which told me already this would be a very significant week. So go see what your messages are. Make sure you watch for your sun, your moon, and your rising sign. What is that? Well, the rising sign is what sign is on the beginning here at the first house. Of course, the sun sign, like this one, is in Taurus. And of course, the moon sign, like this one, would be in Scorpio. I want to watch for all three. They'll give you really full detail of what to expect in this week ahead. So that is a very powerful Tuesday. As I mentioned, you're probably going to start noticing that at the time you're even watching this, if you're watching it over the weekend. Let's take a look at Wednesday. So here is Uranus and Jupiter again conjunct, but now at 22 degrees. Now Jupiter is technically ahead, but I think it's always interesting when we get an master number like the 22, which is a numerology aspect, and 22 is a master builder. So we could see something surprising that is being built. You could see things coming up out of the earth unexpectedly. Think about, volcanoes and eruptions. Those are definitely things that are possible, and things coming up out of the ground that you didn't expect to be there. This is a continuation of energy that has been with us over the past week, and we have a few more days of intensity, and then Jupiter is really going to move on. But Jupiter is a very large planet, the largest out there for us. And it has far reach. But as it is exact with this surprising energy of Uranus, that's when we can expect the biggest changes. So that will continue on Wednesday. Then as Mercury is slowing down, it dips back to, again, the 15-degree mark, where it's closer connected to the North Node and, of course, opposing the South. So this is information. These are lessons that are coming up that are all to do with your individual power versus the power that you have in the relationships that you're in, and how can you rebalance those. So fated events, fated information, fated lessons, fated things to learn. There could be things involving transportation on this day. But again, you always have to lean into the lessons of the past and how you learned them, what you learned about them. People may be showing up from your past that help you move forward, help you think for yourself, help you speak up about what it is that you truly want. Of course, we'll have a couple of days where the moon is also still in Scorpio, and that's why it continues to be an emotional few days. All right, let's just dive in a little bit more on Thursday. This is where we see now Mercury is moving forward, still at that very end degrees at 15 degrees, 59 minutes of Aries, and speaking again still with the North Node. So those conversations, that information, fated things that we need to learn in order to step fully into our power, this continues. The other energy that we will have on this day is the Scorpio energy will start to increase in intensity as the moon gets towards the very end of the sign of Scorpio. So in the evening time, there's a bit more intensity, and then the moon will move into more fun, lighthearted, expansive Jupiterian energy as it slides into the sign of Sagittarius for the next several days. All right. So as you think through your March retrograde journey, right, which started when Mercury was tickling the eclipse point, that should cause you to be introspective this week, to realize what this journey has been about for you and what has each activation of that eclipse point been bringing up for you. So over this previous weekend, we actually saw Venus activate the eclipse point again as well. So we continue to have to do the work. And now that Mercury will be slowly moving forward, it's time that we let go of the things that needed to be let go of, learn what we need to learn, and now we have to apply that learning and start to take some action on it. All right, let's take a look. As we move through the rest of the week, you're going to notice that it's all just about Mercury moving forward. There will be no more significant new energy contacts as the rest of the week transpires. So that's why I keep saying this is so important that we pay attention to the thoughts that are running through our heads, to the conversations that are being had around us, to the things that are coming to us in the mail. Information this week is so important, and especially because it's this long conversation with the North Node opposing the South Node. So I commonly work with people and hear regularly that they get an idea and then they ignore it. And they say, no, I couldn't possibly. Oh, that's not really meant for me. Oh, that would be a ridiculous thing for me to do. But when it comes up again this week, whatever that thing is, whatever you keep pushing away and saying, I couldn't possibly, you need to actually do it. You need to take a leap of faith. You need to take the class. You need to take the course. You need to sign up and choose things that are about you, right? Mercury, Aries, this is about me, my ideas, and you need to run with them. Because when you do, when you take that risk, that's when the big doors are going to open for you. So on Sunday, you're going to notice that Venus is going to spend the last moments in the sign of Aries before she moves into her home sign of Taurus, that of course she's going to love and truly enjoy. But this has been the end of like 3 weeks with Venus in Aries, where we've been choosing to love ourselves, right? Focus on our appearance, focus on what we want, what are our likes, and speaking up for what we want. And then we get to enjoy kind of the fruits of our labors as Venus moves into the sign of Taurus, where the energy is very comfortable and it can make us be a little too indulgent. So just be careful and cautious, depends on where you have this in your own chart. But it will also help things slow down a bit. I don't know if you've noticed, but while we've had all this fire energy going on, time has been literally flying. It's hard to believe that we're already at the end of April. 4 months of the year have absolutely flown by, but we're going to get started here soon with things slowing down as we get into this earthy energy. It helps ground us, and then we're going to start seeing the outer planets do many more retrogrades. So that is all the excitement this week. It is impactful, but there's not a lot going on. But what is going on is a huge impact. So if you want to know more, of course, go out, as I mentioned at the beginning, and take a look at my written articles that can give you some more details, especially with this Scorpio full moon. Check out the tarot card readings. And of course, you can always book a session with me so that we can break it down and look at, where you're going to be feeling the pressure in your chart and in your life this week and what you can do about it. It's not a time, like I mentioned, for hiding out from it. You got to show up, you got to meet it, and you got to do the work. You got to let the closure happen. You got to let transformation in. So it can be a really amazing, incredible week if you let yourself go. And I don't mean that in a bad way, right? But if you let yourself out of the prison cell, let that Tower card, Uranus energy, shake you out of where you've been stuck for what feels like forever, and allow the new possibilities to come in. All right. We, of course, will come back together next week. And in that week, we will start talking about the changes that are happening, what's going to be going on when Mars moves into the sign of Aries. And we have 6 weeks of, yes, more intensity, but also a lot of motivation. So come back next week. We'll talk about that in detail, and anything else that I can help you with in the meantime. Please leave your comments and your feedback. Like I suggested, subscribe, share my information with anybody that you think could benefit from it. And I am sending you much hope, love, and joy on your transformation journey this week. I'm here supporting you all the way, and I can't wait to see how far you grow. All right, we'll talk next week. Thanks, everybody.